Alright, what's up guys, this is BY Gaming, and in today's video we're going to take a look at Hydraka, which is going to be a new Tails monster that hits the game pretty soon. And of course, you can see by his design here, he's going to be some crab looking monster. And so yeah, today we're basically just going to take a look at what we know about him so far, the moveset and the traits, right? So as of this moment, we know nothing about his power, his life, or his speed, but considering this guy is from the Metropolitan Era, you can be sure that they are going to be, up-to-date stats that are going to be better than corrupted monsters. So that is something that is for certain. Now, taking a look at his traits, we have Abomination at rank 0, which means that he is effectively immune to possession and corruption, which are, I believe, the same thing. And he also cannot be hit by nightmares, nor can he be hit by bleed. So that is quite a bit of immunities, and so of course, Abomination is really awesome to see, especially at rank 0, so you don't have to do anything with him for him to have this. Alright, now at rank 1 he is Hardened, so 20% of the time, or a 1 in 5 chance, he basically cannot be hit with negative effects. That is of course kind of cool to have because it is a basic line of defense, although you really can't count on it if it's going to happen 1/5 of the time. So I would have liked to see something like Tough or like Bulwark, but obviously Bulwark is going to be wishful thinking at this time. So yeah, Hardened, not the worst trait. It can come in handy in a pinch, but you generally can't rely on it because it's only a 20% chance. So that's pretty okay. Not as good as Abomination in my opinion. And finally at rank 3 he's got Status Caster True Vision. So that's going to be a double accuracy boost as soon as he comes out onto the field. So that's pretty sick. Obviously True Vision is going to help a lot because if you're blinded or anything like that, it basically allows you to still attack through. So that is very useful. We don't know the relic slots, so obviously we can only keep guessing at this point, but we're going to find out relatively soon anyway, so look forward to that. Now, taking a look at his pros, I'm not going to look at any of these just yet, I'll just go over the moveset, but one thing to note here is that he is a fire monster, so that's pretty cool. Right, looking at him, I would have guessed that he was some kind of a water monster, but apparently not. He's like a fire crab, so that's kind of interesting. Alright, so let's take a look at the moveset here. So first we have Infernal Crab, which deals moderate fire damage to one enemy. So we also don't know the stamina cost or the cooldown. So assuming this to be a no stamina cost, no cooldown move, that will come in handy of course. But we don't know yet. So right now, moderate fire damage. So that's pretty decent, I guess. That's a basic attack. Next we have Heat Shell, applies a 30% life shield to itself, so yeah, basic shield protection. Again, if this is spammable, then that would be really sick, but right now we don't know, so we're just going to have to keep guessing until we get the official information. Next we have Magma Shell, applies positive effect protection and a 50% life shield to itself, requires cooldown. So positive effect protection is really awesome, because now the enemy has to have double PER to get rid of it. And of course a 50% life shield is pretty handy as well, assuming the monster does not have Pierce. Yes, Spectre is still out there, but obviously I do believe that corrupted monsters have limited days. So until we see a monster with Pierce, life shields are going to come in extreme handy, especially when paired with damage protection, right? Or like damage reduction skills or something like that. It can be really, really difficult to break through. So shields, really nice. Next we have Water Steam. So cool, this guy's got water moves and he's a fire monster, so he's got some type coverage. And you can see right here, it deals moderate water damage to all enemies, applies drown to all enemies, requires cooldown. So of course he does have a dot in drowned, that's going to do damage over time, and that of course is also going to take away stamina, so that's pretty handy. Okay, Side Dash. Deals low fire damage to one enemy, applies a 20% life shield to itself, and gives one extra turn to itself. Requires cooldown. So this is pretty cool. It does damage, it applies shield to itself, so it's an attack and defense move, and it also allows the monster to move again. So this is going to be pretty useful, unless, of course, you're being faced down by Anticipation. There are quite a few corrupted monsters with Anticipation, so that's something to look out for. And, even if this guy's faster, Anticipation doesn't even take speed into account. It basically just cuts right in and gives the monster an extra turn right before you would get your extra turn. So that's definitely something to watch out for. But assuming there is no Anticipation monster out there, then this is going to be pretty useful, right? Getting an extra turn is typically pretty cool, so you can use it to like set something else up or maybe do extra damage or whatever the case may be. All right, so that's pretty cool. Side Dash. Water Spout deals heavy water damage to one enemy, applies Drown to one enemy, and requires cooldown. So this is just a general water attack with another drowned dot applied. So this guy so far only has drowned as dots. All right. So, I mean, still useful, but yeah, nothing too crazy so far. Next, we have Abominable Pincers. Deals massive fire damage to one enemy, applies a 30% life shield to itself, requires cooldown. So massive fire damage. That's pretty awesome. So if this guy, fights a nature monster like Super Dream, he's just going to obliterate. And of course, he also gets a life shield when he does it. So he does a lot of damage, and he also retreats behind a shield. So again, if there is damage reduction up and there is no Pierce monster, this guy is going to be a nightmare to get to. I don't know what kind of life stat he'll have, but assuming he has a large life stat and a bunch of runes, this guy could be really difficult to take down under the right circumstances for sure. Next, we have Unbreakable Guard. Applies True Vision, positive effect protection, and double damage to itself. Requires cooldown. Okay, so he gets True Vision again, which obviously doubles his accuracy, so it's very unlikely you'll miss. That's really nice to see. Positive effect protection, that is also good, and for reasons I'll discuss in just a moment, and of course double damage. So this is going to be a one-turn setup move, which is going to be a little bit troublesome because you do have to wait for your turn to come around. And that being said, unless you have a good team setup, you could be denied in the turn that this happens. The monster does have Abomination, which stops him from some negative effects from hitting, and also he has Tough, I believe, right? So he's not going to be able to... Is it Tough? Let's just see real quick. Hardened. So that means that sometimes he won't be hit by negative effects. But yeah, you do have to basically survive a turn with this applied for you to actually get to use the boosts. And the positive effect protection does help you with that just a little bit, because obviously unless the enemy has double PER, you're going to still have these positive effects applied to yourself, the double damage and True Vision. But of course, again, if you get hit by a stun or something like that and it goes through the Hardened, then there's going to be a problem, because then you can be shut down, assuming that your teammates do not protect you. So obviously this is going to be teammate dependent as well. It always has been too. It's not like the monster is, strictly rated in and of itself, but also of its potential. So if this guy's paired with the right monsters, then it can be quite deadly. So yeah, definitely kind of cool to see. Double damage is nice. And True Vision, of course, is nice as well. In case you lose your status caster True Vision, which you will, it doesn't stay, right? So yeah, you're going to have to reapply it. And finally, we have Crabby as Hell, which is its special. So deals massive fire damage to all enemies, applies Burn, Daze, and Ignite to all enemies. So aside from Drowned, the only time this guy gets other dots is if he can use the special, which again is pretty much never really reliable. I mean, special is something that I almost never take into account, because you can get lucky and win if you all of a sudden have access to your special, but that is not something that is reliable because it is pure chance if it happens or not. But anyways, massive fire damage, that's going to do a lot of damage obviously to enemies, bar fire type enemies. So if you're facing down an enemy Hydraka, then there's going to be a bit of an issue because it's not going to do as much damage. And though it does apply Burn, Daze, and Ignite to all enemies. So obviously you're going to, you have Daze for the accuracy decrease, and you have Burn and Ignite to do damage over time. So this is a pretty good special, in my opinion. It has, a lot of negative status effects that it can apply to the enemy, and it does a lot of damage. So overall, this is going to be a pretty cool monster. I definitely would say he's a pretty solid pick. He is a Tails monster, so you will be able to get him if you have, I don't know, like, it used to be like 147 gems, I believe, but it's probably going to be slightly more than that now. But nevertheless, it should be obtainable if you guys do some surveys, if you guys save your gems up, and so on and so forth, if you don't use them on breeding events, that is. So yeah, he should be obtainable, and of course, if you can get him, I would say go for it. This is the beginning of the era, so I definitely would get your hands on any of the monsters that you can. And that being said, he does seem pretty decent, right? He does have Abomination, he has Hardened and True Vision as traits, so that is pretty cool. And he also has water type coverage as a fire monster, right? And he also has access to shields and so on and so forth, but the only dot he has is Drowned that he can reliably use, right? But he does have a lot of awesome stuff going for him. The shields are going to be a pain to get through. And yeah, I mean, this guy definitely has some potential. It definitely depends on his teammates as well, but yeah, pretty cool monster. I kind of like the design. He obviously goes from really innocent looking to pretty intimidating looking when he becomes an adult. It would be kind of interesting to see mythic monsters with 3 stages, just like the monsters used to be, like the legendary monsters. Some of the legendary monsters actually had 3 stages, like you feed them at like, what is it, like level 10, you know, like, and then, what is it, like level 25 or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, sometimes the monsters had like a bunch of different stages, and you can see them go from like baby to like juvenile to an adult or something like that. That might be kind of cool to see for mythics in the future, but nevertheless, that is a bit of a digression here. It's kind of not on topic, but yeah, pretty cool design, and I can't wait to see what his stats are and his relics are as well. But just going off his moveset, he does seem to have some promise, so definitely go ahead and pick him up if you are playing the game and you have enough to get through the Tails event. So that is pretty much going to do it for this video, guys. If you liked it, please leave a like. Please subscribe to the channel. We're actually almost there to 200 subscribers, so each and every one of you will help if you hit that subscribe button. So please do so if you enjoy the content. And this is actually my 100th video, so if you made it all the way to the end, thank you for watching. And that will be it for this video, so I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.